Hello, 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 beloved guests across the planet. How are you? This is Shauna Ava, and you're listening to Heart on Radio. Today, we have an incredible guest. I'm so excited that he decided to join us. Kenji, are you there on the line?
Yes, I am.
Okay, great. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Beautiful. Okay, I hear you just well, too. Kenji Kumara is here with us today on Heart on Radio. Thank you so much for being with us, Kenji.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
And we are Sedona neighbors now officially. We met out on sea. We met out in the Atlantic, didn't we?
I guess we did in the Caribbean. Yes.
Well, Kenji, thank you again for being here with us. And I always like to start with just a few deep breaths to get grounded and centered and kind of, release the day and bring us here to the now moment. And then we'll dive right in with everything that you're here to share with us. So if you don't mind joining me, we're just going to do a few deep breaths. Whew. Okay. Thank you so much for taking the time to do that with us. I feel very connected to everyone who's listening to the show every time we take that pause to do those few deep breaths. So thank you, Kenji, for doing that with us.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do, we're going to discuss, rather, a few different things. You have a lot of areas of expertise, and you are such a fascinating background. But specifically, I know your focus seems to be energetic vortexes. You do these amazing Sedona hikes. And I know you have some retreats coming up later on in a few months from now. So that'll be really exciting for people who are in the Sedona area or want to come to the Sedona area. This is something I really encourage you to sign up and do. It is so powerful. I'm excited to experience one myself personally. So hold a spot for me. And then also this quantum lightweaving, which I know has given people tremendous healing. So let us begin, I guess, with a little bit about your background, Kenji. How did this all begin for you?
I guess when I was born. Oh, here I am. All right, I guess I better start it. Get with the program. I think officially it started when I was 5 years old, and I asked my mom, "Who am I?" And she said, "You're Japanese." So I believe I energetically, consciously started my journey then. And then on a more physical level, started in my first year in college when I was 23. I had spent 4 years in the Air Force and almost died from that experience. And
no kidding.
I thought I was kind of dumb and stupid when I got out of high school because, for one thing, I almost didn't graduate from high school because I couldn't pass this one American history class when I was in the 11th grade. So I had to take it over in the 12th grade, and if I didn't pass it, I would have not been able to graduate. But yeah, I thought I was kind of dumb and stupid at age 18, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, of course, being that young. Just turned 18, and I graduated and I was still 17, and I decided, well, I better go into the Air Force because I didn't know what else to do. So I did that for almost 4 years, and then I worked for about 9 months, and then knew I was going to go to college. Well, I didn't know if I was even going to make it through college. I still had this idea that I didn't even know if I could write an essay, let alone take a final exam, and all that stuff, right? And write papers. I had no clue if I could do that. And my first semester in college, I got a B average, and that gave me the confidence to continue all the way through 10 years later, getting my master's in education.
Oh, my gosh. Wow, from thinking that you won't complete high school to getting your master's in education. I think that is so charming.
Irony, huh? Yeah.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, what made you feel this, intellectual insecurity?
Well, it was really I didn't have any good teachers in school. Not
I can
in
understand.
Elementary school, junior high, or high school. I hated school. and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that statement. I
can.
hated it. I hated to get up early to go to class, and I would miss first period high school classes and write a note signed by my mom so I could give it to the teacher or the principal. I just did not want to go to school. I just could not relate. It was horrible for me, really.
Yeah. No, I can definitely relate to that. and I could feel, I think I could sense the programming. So I felt, why am I wasting my time being shoved in memorizing this knowledge that I don't even really believe is true?
Yeah. Let alone how can I apply it in my daily life when I get out of school?
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just started my search in philosophy and religious studies in my first year in college. Did really well in those areas, straight A's. It was kind of natural for me. So that led into studying energy work and body work and consciousness kinds of things. So I was, I guess you could say, a leading edge at that time of things that we call holistic now. But back then, in the early 70s, the late 60s and early 70s, there wasn't very much going on. There were a few pioneers in certain fields of psychotherapy and body work and the like, but not what we have today. And we didn't have psychics running around the place back then. They were very hard to find back in the 70s. And,
I'm sure.
So a lot of it was self-learning and just searching and seeking, and I was just wanting to find the truth, basically.
Yeah.
About life,
it sounds like
about how healing works, all that stuff.
Right, like a genuine thirst to understand the world and what we're doing here and our purpose and all of that. And that could have been why you were really not interested in school, because these were more of the subjects that suited you, that fascinated you, and then you excelled. Yeah,
if they would have had that going to school, I would have been straight A student. Shoot, give me more. Just
you would have been holding Vortex hikes back in the 70s, just ready to go. A master's in that, your doctorate in Vortexes.
But, I could have easily gotten that.
Wow. There is you honestly, you have such an interesting background, and I say that because you have had your hand in so many things and you've studied so many different things, and you also come from, I think, a really revolutionary timeline. My mom is also that baby boomer era, and there was the introduction of the psychedelics and the wartime and the love revolution. There was a lot going on then. So I think just even having survived that period and gone through that and all the way to today and what we are on the brink of now energetically is just so neat. I think it is, and you have so much wisdom to, I'm sure, share and that you carry because of that. So, you've been involved in this for longer than maybe some of our listeners have been alive. So that's
40, going on 50 years, I suppose.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and you look young as ever. You do. You truly do. Fountain of youth. That's something you may have to...
Well, it's funny because the older I get, age-wise, it does seem like I am looking more youthful each year.
You're like Benjamin Button, but I bet you that has something to do with the energy work. Absolutely.
Oh, it does. It does, yeah.
Yes.
Meditating and doing the work.
It's interesting. I saw a girlfriend of mine. She is a Kundalini master, and she took a photo before meditating, a selfie, I guess you could say, and then a selfie after meditating, and it was like she had a mini facelift. You could absolutely see the difference. So I think that's really exciting and devastating for the beauty and cosmetics industry, but we don't need any of that.
No, not really.
No, and you are walking living proof. So I'm just so excited. There's so many things to start with, and I hope you don't mind I bring this up, but you seem to be pretty candid in your time spent as what you would call almost a wanderer, and you even had a chunk of time that you were homeless.
Oh, yeah, I've pretty much experienced everything that people can experience, except for like severe depression, thoughts of suicide. Never went that way.
Oh, that's great.
But, yeah, I had near-death experiences when I was very little, and I could have died at least twice, from brain injuries. I had a couple of God experiences. I've been a loner. I was a loner most of my life, wanderer.
Yeah.
And went homeless. Had to do bankruptcy. I was on the verge of homelessness again until Sheila Gale found me and brought me on her radio show. Divorce. Just a lot of learning and disappointments. Highs and lows, basically, of life.
Mm-hmm.
But most of this I had to do on my own.
Yeah.
I was like the soul seeker. You can take that in two ways, folks. The soul seeker.
So I just feel that the homelessness is so interesting to me. Was there something, and first of all, I'm curious where you spent that period of time, but there must have been some huge revelations that came through during that period.
Well, not necessarily, but I'll just briefly share with you.
I want food. That's my revelation.
Okay, here's spiritual food for Shauna here. So because of a house fire at my dad's home, which eventually I had rebuilt through insurance, bless the insurance company, and he sold it, and he went his way and I went my way. And I didn't know this, but I was suffering from a bit of post-traumatic stress. Having found the fire and got myself and my dad out of the house in the middle of the night in January in the Bay Area in California, and then calling the fire department and almost having the house implode and explode. It didn't,
my God.
It was, the fire chief said the house was about 2 or 3 minutes from imploding. And he said, did you ever see the movie Backdraft? And I went, no. And he goes, well, your house would have been like that in that movie that apparently exploded. And but I was woken up from the other side, or else I'd probably be on the other side now.
Wow.
If I had not been woken up, I would have probably died in that house. But so from that, I couldn't teach, and I couldn't find a job. I was like a little bit traumatized, and I didn't really realize that I was energetically not stable. I was somewhere in between states, and that lasted about 6 months. But so I told my friends, okay, I need a place to stay. If anybody can put me up, I'm kind of homeless and I'm kind of looking for work. And strangers would put me up. They heard about the news and they would put me up, as opposed to my friends. Some of my friends put me up, but there was more strangers that somehow contacted me, and I would stay at their house for 2 or 3 weeks. I'd sleep on the couch. So I'd go from house to house to my friend's rental cabin near Murphy, near Sonora. But it was recovery time for me. Even though I couldn't work, I just tried to maintain. And then I started to run out of money. I didn't have much money at the time. And this was 6 months later, and then nobody was offering any housing. And then I thought, all right, this could be do or die for me. This is the year 2000. 2000, right? The first month of the new century.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Here I had to go homeless. And I spent a night in the car and woke up with a backache and decided I can't do this anymore, sleep in my little Honda hatchback. And I thought, well, let me see, nothing's happening. All right, I'm going to go up to Mount Shasta, and either I'm going to make it or I'm going to die. I just had that thought. I'm either going to make it or I'm just going to leave. And if I'm going to leave, I want to leave on a sacred mountain, not in a city. So I went up there and stayed in a hostel for a number of weeks, and $15 a day back then, right? $90 a week.
Oh my gosh, $15 a day.
And I bought my first cell phone, and it wouldn't pick up a signal there in Mount Shasta. So I gave that experiment up, returned the phone, got my refund. So here I am, and I don't have a cell phone, right? And, of course, the Internet, I didn't know anything about the Internet at the time, so it was just basically word of mouth. And luckily I found a very inexpensive place to stay for about 2 years. And then I got guided to move up to Seattle. And during this whole time, I'm trying to create my practice. It's not doing well. I didn't know how to market myself. So anyway, that led to being in Seattle and bankruptcy and then credit card debt resolution kind of thing, and then on the verge of homelessness again until Sheila Gale called. And I guess I learned about worry and how really it doesn't do you any good to worry about anything.
Yes.
But I remember for the whole time I was in credit card debt, waking up and thinking, I've got all this debt. That was the first thought, waking up. Every day was like, I got $60,000 in debt or whatever it was. And that will weigh on me. But I realize now about, there are ways to be free of that. But worry is a killer. And I think worry will create diseases, will create hardships in your life, will just, create a rough time. It's like navigating a sailboat on a rough sea that's like on the verge of a storm, and having to navigate the sail 24/7 so you don't sink. But I got to tell you a miracle. One of the financial miracles was after my dad died, and I kind of showed him how to make transition in there in the hospital. Although he was stroked out, he understood because he could hear me. I had to take care of his affairs, and he had this really off-the-wall oil company stock that was worth literally nothing, and he had something like 10,000 shares at something like 10 cents a share or something. I mean, so at that time it was worth about $500 maybe. But then I kept getting statements and seeing it going up and up and up, and it went from 500 to 30,000, and then I got the hit, the voice, the intuition, all right, cash out now because it ain't going to go any higher. And guess what? After I cashed out, it started to go downhill. But the voice said, just like the voice that woke me up so that I wouldn't die in the house fire, cash out. So, we need to pay attention to that little voice that guides us.
Absolutely. Now, was meditating a big part of your practice then? Is that how the voice came in, or was it just you would just get
I was
these hits?
not so much meditating then, but I was doing energy work and body work. I had been doing it, since the mid-'70s, early to mid-'70s to at that time 2000, off and on. But no, I wasn't regularly practicing meditation. I got more into this quantum level around 2004. Although initially I had the training in 1981 about this quantum level stuff, but it wasn't called that then. But that was, actually maybe with psychic studies, might have gone back even to the 70s. But, quantum theory and all that kind of recognition, I started to learn and do it from that place 13 years ago.
Wow. So that is, and I'm so excited you went there. This is exactly where I was going. It's this quantum light weaving. First of all, it has such a beautiful essence. That term, just saying it, feels really empowering. But I would love for you to describe what that is and how you use that, and maybe how some of us can right now at home implement that or practice that.
Okay, this is for you and your audience. I'll do it in a very creative way here. So let's all take a deep breath and just relax and just go into a place of being open and receiving. And I'm going to give you the essence of the work.
Okay.
So it's empowered illumination through trust and liberation, igniting joyful connection. Now we can phrase it another way. I am illumination, empowered through trust and liberation, igniting joyful connection. So if you just take a deep breath and receive that, you can begin to sense what quantum light weaving is about.
Wow. That feels a bit to me like just almost breathing in or drinking in pure divine light. I don't know if anyone else feels that, but holy tomatoes.
Holy tomatoes.
Oh my God.
Let's all get drunk on Shauna's show.
Let's get drunk on Kenji's light, divine light. Oh my God. And genuinely, I'm starting to heat up. My body's starting to heat up.
Yeah, that's a good sign that you're receiving the essence. Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, just keep heating up, man, because it'll just keep coming for the whole show. So that's my new elevator speech, folks. Oh, they didn't teach that in business coaching school.
No.
Let's see. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, this is what I share with people.
Yeah.
I share the empowered illumination through trusting, self-trust, liberation, mind liberation, igniting that divine light experience, joyful connection with your soul, your I am presence, and God. So that's my journey. That's
your journey.
That's my my mission.
Wow. So this almost feels like something you could take every hour on the hour, take a moment to just quantum light weave within your own day, your own, sit down and, okay, I don't have time for meditation, but just a minute or two every hour or so, weave that light in.
Yes. Well, this is my particular meditation for myself, yes. And so eventually I will be teaching people how to tap into their soul signature, if you will, their divine coordinates, whatever you want to call it, their essential mission statements. But, it takes preparation, it takes practice. So you just can't, receive these downloads and think, okay, you've got to do a lot of the legwork still. And that's where people fail. That's where they give up, or they get lazy, or they get distracted, or all of the above, and they don't finish their assignments. And then they wonder, how come I can't manifest? Well, because you're not doing your homework.
Yep.
To learn a language, you've got to study. At some point, you'll become a genius and Superman and Superwoman. But for pretty much all of us on the planet, we still have to do the legwork. We have to do daily practice of something, whether it's invoking, the power of the four directions, which we're a part of in a way, or the 5 elements, or whatever you want to call it. We've got to continually stay tuned in with the earth, with the heavens, with our knowing.
Yeah.
So part of what we do with the land, because I've always kind of been a nature lover, coming out of that hippie era, so to speak, not a full-fledged hippie, but, relating to the philosophy of that, which most people don't understand unless they've gone through that era. And it was a place, actually, where we could have been now, but it got suppressed. It definitely got suppressed and got derailed, so to speak, and then had to go underground for about 20 years. But we could have been in a very different place had that movement, in a sense, kept going without being suppressed. But anyway,
when you say suppressed, are you? And it's so funny, Kenji. We are like on the same train. I had that as a question I wanted to ask you, as someone who went through that time period. Did you feel as though there was an opportunity for disclosure and this golden era to come in, and we kind of missed the bus?
Well, that's when the powers to be, and you guys know what I'm talking about, came down with heavy fear and programming and military might and all of that.
And I do feel also,
and everything.
So I do feel as well some of the psychedelics and the things that were given to, the ones who were drafted, and lots of people, they were giving these out to almost distract from the goal at hand. You know what I'm saying? Like it was given as something that I think to dilute people, to distract them, because I think that divine, that that unity, that love that everyone was feeling, it's like it went down this psychedelic wormhole just too far deep, and I feel like that was a part of the agenda.
Well, that was one of the extreme elements. Not, I don't know if so much that, but it was, that extreme element of the movement, so to speak. But, what I remember in the 70s, even though I had to spend 4 years in the military, so I got exposed to the fear and the dogma and the regimentation and all of that. And I said, no, boy, there's no way I'm a lifer. I'm getting out as soon as I can get out. In the atmosphere, at least in California, and California at the time was leading edge thinking for everybody in the world. All of the creative stuff came out of California. And some of us knew that. And it was very open-minded energetically. There wasn't fear of the police or anything like that. And you could be open. And I just felt that when the 80s came around, that somehow that whole peace energy began to disappear. That sense of connection.
Yeah.
And then I suppose I'm kind of neutral on the whole psychedelic thing and all of that. I experienced the good stuff of that part of the movement, but it began to become tainted, and then greed came in and all of that, and poison and toxins, and that messed people up really bad. But initially, there was pure stuff going around.
Yeah.
And of course, when the government found out about that, they did their best to influence that. But,
exactly. Yeah.
People don't realize that there was some LSD therapy experiments going on, and it was very beneficial medically. Same thing with marijuana.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, mushrooms. But, of course, everything got altered. So now we're coming back maybe kind of full circle, but this time in a quantum way, where science is actually proving certain theories that they postulated over the last decade or two regarding the time-space continuum, the possibility of choosing how you're going to experience your reality in any given moment, to being able to time travel into the past, the future, things that shamans knew and did, for a very long time. So science is beginning to prove that. So I like that aspect.
I do as well. The Holographic Universe is a book I recommend to everyone. I think it really speaks to that, and there are so many scientific studies that they did that really are just uncanny, and I feel they are in favor of this holographic experience, really, which to me is, again, so empowering and exciting, because it's like, wow, I really am in control of this game here. Yeah,
we can be, very much so.
Yeah.
So humanity is going from a place of collective victimhood, moving slowly, not as fast as we would like, I'm sure, but slowly moving into its opposite, so to speak, of knowing that they are the creator of their reality or their experiences. And it doesn't matter your life situation, however heavy it might be, you can shift it. When I went through that whole homeless period, I didn't necessarily have any revelations, mythical experiences, other than, wow, strangers are putting me up. Now, how cool is that? Total strangers.
Yeah.
And so, just on that level, the world has beautiful people that care about other people, and that can be totally strangers.
Wow. That really touches my heart. I know, and that's why I think anytime we go out into the world, it's a united feeling we should have looking at someone or passing someone we don't know. I always try and share a smile at the very least. And it's so funny how some people will react, or they pass by and they look down at the ground, and I just keep smiling on through because it's almost like an energetic hug as I pass by.
Mhm. Yeah. We're so afraid to connect. That's part of the agenda that we all need to break out of. We all need to be aware of all these things that bring us fear or make us afraid.
Mm-hmm.
That's the agenda that we need to break. That's like in the movie The Matrix. Are you going to stay stuck on the Matrix forever, or are you going to break out? Are you going to have the courage to do something?
Exactly, yes. And that's why I'm so appreciative of people like you and this spiritual community and this revolution that is happening, because that is exactly what I wanted Heart On Radio to be, is a place where we can share and have wonderful guests like you who can impart some knowledge and wisdom and empowering, exciting information to us that we can start to use right away. Because I think we are on the precipice of this huge change. I feel the veil is thinning so much. I don't know what you're experiencing, Kenji, but I feel it's so. I almost have to laugh. Dreamtime and walking reality feel like one and the same. I can't tell one from the other.
Good luck with that one.
Yeah.
Who's dreaming what? Yeah.
It is.
Well, yes, in a way, the veil is thinning. And back in my day, when I started my search, on a more collective level, no, people weren't relating to any of this stuff. I mean, they didn't even know about it, so they couldn't relate to it. It was just a small group, a very small percentage of us Californians, and of course, New Yorkers, because it also, I believe, secondarily came out of the East Coast. You didn't have it in the South. You didn't have it in the Midwest. My God, no. And so, you had the churches, and that was it. But I think as things fail, systems fail, and people get more dissatisfied, they're going to look elsewhere. They have to. They can't stay in their box and suffer anymore. It'll come to a point where they're going to just scream, no more. I'm out of here. I don't know what I got to do, God, but, show me the way.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So this is, we're touching on so many things here, but if you could, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the quantum lightweaving. This is a term that it sounds like it kind of came to you. I mean, specifically this terminology. But
I asked for a business name, and, within about a week, I think, that's what came to me. I just knew quantum had to be in the name, and I had to trademark it, or else somebody else would take it. and when I trademarked it, I didn't hear quantum hardly at all mentioned in the spiritual circles. So I did it just in time, I think. I did it, within about 2 or 3 years. If I had not done it 3 years later, somebody would have probably taken that. But I did trademark it.
Yeah.
As well as Sedona Vortex activations, just because, more and more people doing this stuff, right? And they've got to think, okay, what's my business name going to be? What am I going to call my work?
Yeah, no, truly. And it's, I'm curious, too, about your time in Mount Shasta, because that is another place that I feel there have to be some energetic vortexes. I really hear that the veil is very thin over there.
To me, I love Sedona, but that place, aside from the crater on Maui in Hawaii, Mount Shasta, to me, I resonate with Mount Shasta very, very strongly.
Oh,
that way.
Oh,
it's a very special mountain for me.
Yeah.
I've never climbed to the top because I'm not a mountain climber, although you can do it. But I love my time being there. And, there's a small community there. Very hard to live and work there, obviously. You have to have really something going for you on the internet or on the phone. But, God, there's so many places to hike and so many lakes up there, but just the mountain, the presence of the mountain. Every time I used to drive up I-5 from Redding, that's usually how you get there, other than Ashland coming down from the north, you always go around this one bend, and then the mountain would be right there on your right. And every time you'd go, oh, God, you would just go, oh, God, what a sight, just breathtaking.
Yeah. I did spend a little under a week in Mount Shasta, and my gosh, the land I was staying on, I would hear this train blow through it every several hours, and I could just feel this. It was like the train carried memories of souls, and they were still riding it, and I just felt so much energy. But this was even prior to, I think, how awakened I am now. So I'd love to go back, but I'm wondering if did you experience any really out there moments or vortex?
Well, I didn't have UFO experiences, but here's what I did, and it's packed away in storage, my photo album. I was able to stay on the northwest side of the mountain, outside of Mount Shasta. And I had a direct view of the mountain from my balcony, and I had a camera back then, a real camera. It was a Canon T90, I think, with a telephoto lens and wide angle, plus a regular lens. And so I had the opportunity of taking these incredible lenticular cloud formation shots over the mountain over that 2-year period that I have not seen anybody else take anywhere. And I've often thought of publishing it or making a calendar out of it or something, but
wow,
that was my high, was actually, like looking out the window going, oh my God, look at that huge lenticular cloud over the mountain. Then I go grab my camera and take a whole bunch of shots. And this was even at night, too. During a full moon, I would get these shots of lenticulars forming, and it's like, whoa. So that was my high, in a sense, being able to photograph that energy.
Oh, you have such a love for nature and the outdoors, it seems like.
Yeah, and that probably lead us into this next segment of the hikes that we can do here in Sedona.
Yes, please tell me about that. And if you can, touch on the, I know one of the huge indicators here at Sedona are those trees that just wind around. They're so unusual, and I haven't seen them anywhere else. But please, let's get right into the Sedona hikes and vortexes and what someone can expect if they sign up for that.
Well, basically, we start off at the trailhead or the parking lot, depending, and we do a little meditation.
And what is your favorite? Do you have a certain spot that you like to hold those, or does it depend on the group?
Well, it depends. Yeah, it can depend on the small group and how in shape they are and all of that, their hiking experience. But you can go to the top of Bell Rock, and that is, I always recommend people do that with a guide. It is such an amazing experience. Cathedral Rock I love because of the divine feminine energies that come through.
I feel very galactic energy over there as well. I don't know if you sense any galactic stuff.
Too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, there's that one spire, that vertical spire that's, talk about it being an antenna. Holy cow. You can actually lean against it. There's a way you can lean against it. I love Boynton Canyon because of the mystical nature of Boynton Canyon. Fay Canyon's kind of nice. It's a shorter version of Boynton. Long Canyon's got the birthing cave, which is a must for people. If you can get over your fear of climbing into the womb itself without falling down and hurting yourself, if you can get over that part. Yeah. There's West Fork, if you don't mind the mosquitoes. You got the water, you got all this green vegetation and cliffs, usually on the one side, the west side. You can climb Doe Mountain, which is not a terribly hard hike. I think Boynton and Cathedral are probably my favorites, although you can spend time on Bell Rock, even though a lot of people go there. There's places where you can sit and literally be by yourself and really have some deep meditations. But what I like to do is talk to people about being an earth walker, and that we always ask permission to walk the land, and we ask for divine protection so we don't get hurt or bit by snakes, things like that. So we respect the land, and the permission part is very important. And then we And then I usually share with people, you know, you want to tune in to whatever is calling you, whatever you're looking at or walking upon. You want to be able to literally become one with it. Really get in touch with the earth, with nature, and always the creatures come, whether it's the wind as a messenger or ravens or these, not blue jays, but they're a cousin to the blue jays that squawk and talk. Spiders, chipmunks, lizards. So they're all messengers. So, and I just remind people, pay attention. You know, and if you want to take a picture of something, go ahead. And then we usually find a special place out of the sun. If it's, you know, if it's hot, we have to get out of the sun to do the activation that I record in a place that's not too windy, so my recorder can pick it up without too much interference. We usually find a special place and do an activation for about 35, 40 minutes. And then, you know, during this whole time, I give them freedom to pick my brain, ask me anything they want, whatever they want to talk about, whatever they are curious about, metaphysically speaking, about the land, about the ancients. Oh, we always bring in the ancients. All the ancients that used to come to this area for ceremony and for healing. So these are the Anasazi, the Hopi, Navajo, and even those tribes before them that don't have a name in our history. So, yeah, sometimes people can really get a connection with the ancients. And part of what we put into the field is that everybody that I guide on a hike has a relationship with Sedona, has a past life or a future life or a parallel lifetime connection here with this place. So no accidents.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. And it's really about helping people to wake up to what they know, to get in touch with their vision for their life. Because a lot of people come to Sedona, 1, for healing, 2, for vision and clarity, and 3, because they love the beauty of this place.
Yeah. Sedona, to me, is so energetically supportive. If you're ready to do the work, she will just uplift you. And, you know, and sometimes it can, and I warn people, too, it can be, if you're not ready to do the work, it's almost like she knows what buttons to hit, that you will just feel, you can end up feeling a little fried out. Oh, my God, because all of these things will start to purge. So it's... Yeah,
that's true. There are a lot of purgings can go on here. And, if you're too closed and you come here, you probably won't have a good time.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the more open you are, the more positive flow experiences you have, like cosmic connections and divine timings, and
all those
your thoughts will manifest really quickly here. Like, oh, okay, I need to talk to somebody about this essential oil for my knee, and then all of a sudden, like you might 5 minutes later meet somebody that's like knows about essential oils.
Yes, exactly. Yes. No, I know. Sedona is such a magical place. That's why I encourage anyone and everyone. You know, obviously as a local now, you can get a little frustrated with the tourism that comes in, and all of a sudden you're like, where is all this traffic? We don't have traffic. But I'm actually so pleased that so many people are being called to come here, you know, instead of Disneyland or, you know, whatever it is on their summer vacations. It's like they're taking the family to Sedona, and that's really a beautiful thing. So
I kind of like it when I see families
right
here in town, and see these young kids that are like 8 and 12, and
they're playing 14. On the rocks, and they're just being introduced to this whole field at a really young age, and you see the family connecting over hikes. You know, it's so lovely. Have you ever led a hike with a family?
Oh, not yet, but that's a good one.
Not yet. That would be really neat.
Yes. Family of 4, that would be good.
Yeah, I'm curious, when you say you do activations on your hikes, would you say that you're activating the land or the people themselves, or is it all of the above?
Well, Well, basically, the guided meditation, so to speak, for lack of a better term, until we find a more appropriate, I guess, phrase for this, is I help people to go into a quantum state easily, and then there'll be extended period of silence where they're going to be connecting with the land, with their spiritual guides that are connected with the land, with their higher self. It kind of all depends on what they're ready for to experience. But I tell you, I think the wind is a big part of what I do with the land here, because I've noticed during parts where there's the start, the ending, or places in the guided activation, the wind will come up and start speaking. Out of nowhere, it'll be like totally calm, like my last one. So we're sitting there in Boynton Canyon, and it's totally calm, and we're sitting under the only tree that you could probably do an activation there in the back of the canyon, and it was, it was hot. It was not too long ago, so it was mid-morning, later morning when we got to the very end and hiked up to this place, and all of a sudden the wind comes up out of nowhere. And so I just instructed her, like, pay attention, the wind's here. So the wind that brings messages, the wind is a carrier of information and energy. And sometimes the wind will help you to blow off your karma, so to speak, you know what I mean? Let go of all this old stuff that you've been carrying around. And sometimes it'll bring new energies, things that you're ready to begin to embody and experience in your life. And then sometimes you might have a bird in the distance start talking right where in a particular part of the activation that it's so relevant to what was just said. They're like confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when the thunder gods come, which they did on my last Vortex hike, right when we ended, just before I turned off the recording, clap of thunder. And that was to acknowledge that whole activation, especially what we did at the end. Oh. And then it rained on us as we were hiking out. A lot. For like 40 minutes or something.
Oh, wow.
But it's cosmic like that. Yeah, and I've noticed the birds, too, they play a particular role in these activations. They will come when necessary, and they will make noise to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really neat.
Wow. Well, speaking of animals and birds here, I just want to read the card of the day that I pulled. And I pulled this with you in mind because this is from the Spirit of the Wheel meditation deck. So it's really focused on kind of animals and the moon cycles, and it's a really lovely card. So what I happen to get today for our listeners is the harvest moon, which I love. That's so good. It is the turning point, preparation, and gathering. Now, the harvest moon teaches us the art of preparation through the act of gathering. This card signals a time of abundance. Your hard work has paid off. The harvest is now full and ready for the gathering. Decide how much to enjoy, share, and store up for the future. So I think this is such a I think this card is so timely. The harvest moon represents August 23rd to September 22nd, and holy cow, is that going to be a powerful time? We've got that solar eclipse.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Uh-huh. And it's right in that window of time. These next couple of months are really going to be, I think, this like a huge shift into this Christ consciousness and this new paradigm that we've been working towards. So I don't know if you're leading any hikes during that time or what your plans are for the solar eclipse, but I'm sure it's going to be so powerful.
I am doing an online activation either on that day or the day before, I believe. But other than that, yeah, if some of you folks want to come down to Sedona and do a harvest moon Vortex hike. Man, that would be nice. That actually is really good for that card you pull is really good for me because it's very relevant for where I am right now with my developing my sense of who I am in relationship to my business. So that's perfect.
Wow. No, I felt the very same way. I was like, I pull these cards each week and I choose a deck usually according to who I'm interviewing. And I was just called to this deck for you. I mean, I'll post the picture eventually, but I mean, we've got wolves and we've got the dream catcher, and it's just the harvest is full. And that to me really resonated with, I think, what you're bringing to the picture and where we are as a collective. So I was like, this is so cool. Every week these cards are so validating. They really are. So with just a few minutes left here, I want to make sure that everybody knows how to get in touch with you. We have all the links posted, but can you just speak to the most, I guess, the next up and coming thing that people can get involved and check out your stuff right away and carry on with this quantum light weaving or Sedona vortexes or
et
cetera.
I guess we can do we can introduce people to the work through the membership program, and we're going to have new pricing, which will be very affordable pretty much for everybody, starting August 1st. So we've had this program going since, I believe, March. So this is a way that people can have more of maybe an intimate connection once a month, and to get some free downloads of the activations and radio shows and discounts on products and things like that. We feel it's a very generous program for our audience. Then I would recommend perhaps a hike here with me in Sedona. And you can book 1, 2, or 3 days. But I got to tell you, just being out in a vortex for 4 to 6 hours can be pretty intense, and you may go at the end of the afternoon, I can't take any more of this. I'm like so loaded. I'm like so full of energy. Like, whoa. You may feel like that. So 2 or 3 days.
Many people have mentioned on your hikes kind of a loss of time.
Oh, yeah, you do. You get, also in the retreats, it's the loss of time, yeah. You think it's like in a couple hours when it's been like 6.
Wow.
Yeah. But Sedona can do that to you in a way. You can just kind of like not even think about that level. Oh, my God, it's time to go eat. We got to get out of here. And then I would recommend on a more advanced, a deeper level for people that are really ready to embody their soul, to do the next retreat coming up in November at the famous Sedona Creative Life Center, which is where most of the people hold their retreats and workshops and things like that. But that's going to be a rather advanced 6-day program, and it'll be perfect for all those that are ready to really express their spirit in their life. And we'll give some practical meditation techniques and some healing techniques that you can take home and work on people. We won't have massage tables per se, but we can do stuff in chairs and sitting on the carpet. And it's not going to be a huge retreat. Like, it's not going to be hundreds, so people don't have to worry like, oh, God, can't be around those many people. It'll be, it'll be 70 or under, and that still, to me, can be an intimate gathering to where people won't feel lost. But if you're ready for big changes, like really ready, and if you're the healer type or the entrepreneur type, holistic nurse, holistic medical doctor, a thought leader, a business leader, and you really want to really make some really deep shifts in your life, like in 6 days, you might want to consider that. And then, of course, I'm available for phone sessions and in-person sessions. And, of course, we do our moon events twice a month, full of new moon events, very affordable. So that's our package in a nutshell.
No, I love that because there's something for everyone. It's like no matter your level or your budget or how deep you want to get in this or you just want to taste, there's something for everyone. So I really appreciate that, because I wanted to sign up for something recently and it was so expensive. I thought, oh, whoa, okay, well, that's rent for the month. So maybe I need to pause and think about that. But it's so necessary at this point in time to really immerse yourself, and I think buckle down and get serious, and like you said, invest and stay consistent in your practice.
Mm-hmm.
So
yes. Oh, and also want to mention, also people can join our closed Facebook group, Kenji Nation. Just send a request to join, and that's where I post, more of my personal stuff, plus, events. But I usually will post funny photos on there, shall we say. If you go to it today, you can see Kimberly's little running narrative through pictures of like what we did when she was here recently, like our journey to Jerome and our night out at the restaurant in Uptown and things. In the backyard, being in the backyard on a tree swing, and here's Kenji as Kimberly saying goodbye and going back to Philadelphia. We post stuff like that. Just yeah.
No, that
cute
is so
stuff,
sweet.
Funny stuff.
The inner child is, I think, one of the most important things to take care of and take note of. So I love that playful energy. That's definitely something that Kenji brings to the table. There is this inner child that will just come out of nowhere and just make you want to play. And I think that's really, it shows in your work. It shows in what you do, that playfulness. And I think it allows people, it disarms people to bring that same feeling into their own essence and feel safe in doing that. So, Kenji, this has been, I feel as though we've entered a vortex during this conversation. I can't believe how fast the time went. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It
just flew by.
It just flew by, and I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me and share your story and your wisdom with our listeners. I'm so excited for the next couple of months. I'm so excited the work that you're doing in Sedona, and I really, again, encourage people to get on his website, sign up for some of these events, come to these sacred lands if you can. Sedona is a magical place, and go on these hikes and really connect with your highest, greatest self, because we are in a magical time. You are needed. You are an important piece of the puzzle. We all are. So, Kenji, thank you again.
No, you're welcome.
Oh, gosh. So with that, I guess that wraps up this week's episode of Heart on Radio. Kenji, thank you again. We love you, listeners. Thank you so much. And check out kenjikumara.com. Among the other links you'll see will lead you right to all of these things that we've been talking about. So thank you again, Kenji, and everyone have a beautiful day today.